dipping our toes into advanced racism. Your face is a direct reflection of your intelligence. It's the truth. There's no way you look at somebody like this and the only thing they're saying is, join my Leering Center. Like, these people are just fucking retarded. You can tell by the way they look. You should judge books by their cover. It's a survival instinct. It is a basic sign of intelligence that you have the ability to do so.
Look at certain people. You just know that they are extremely stupid.
Yep.
Without even talking to them.
True.
This is because of their facial features.
Yep.
The face is a direct reflection of intelligence.
Yep.
And in this video, I'll prove it to you. You will learn how the eyes, eyebrows, hairline, and even the forehead can indicate a person's intelligence.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. You know, like, he has a fucking point. You know what I'm saying? Like, do we think this is gonna be spitting? The only thing she gonna be spitting is maybe some chunks from the KFC that she's chewing. Ain't no way, bro.
Through strong evidence based on the human physiology and many other subdisciplines. You will also learn the indications of different facial features through the science of physiognomy, which is the science of identifying people's characteristics and personality traits through their facial features. We will discuss the average IQ of different countries.
Oh, the IQ map. Shit. We about to get crazy in here, bro.
How factors such as language, shape cognitive patterns, and many other factors that can affect a person's intelligence. By the end of this video, you will be better at differentiating between stupid and smart people. The eyes are very important to observe when trying to predict if a person is intelligent or not. By just observing those two individuals, you can see directly that they lack intelligence. Both have eye problems. Each one of the eyes of the person on the left is pointing in a different direction. Both are extremely obese, so their brains are slower. All of this is an indication of a brain.
If I look at you and you're morbidly obese, I can immediately tell that you make bad decisions. Because if you are morbidly obese, that means you can't control your urges, even if it comes at the cost of your own life. Yes, I do believe on average, fat people are stupider. I absolutely do. I'm actually curious if there's a statistic for that. Yes, on average, people with higher body fat, especially obesity, score lower on intelligence cognitive test. And everybody knows it. If you can't put down McDonald's because it tastes too yummy at the cost of your own life, you're retarded.
That is not functioning well. To understand the relationship between eyes and intelligence, we should go back to the basics. Your brain uses different senses to gather information. Your eyes gather information by detecting light reflected off objects, which passes through the cornea and pupil to be focused by the lens onto the retina. The retina is literally a part of the brain. It is connected to the brain through the optic nerve. Both of the brain and the retina are built from the same components, so the retina is considered a part of the central nervous system. Now that we know all this, we will look into different types of syndromes, different types of mental disorders, and obesity.
Oh my God. It's also crazy because, like, you say you can't judge a book by their cover, but if somebody has Downs, you can look at them and immediately tell.
To understand how poor eye health is linked to cognitive problems, the mean IQ of a person with Down syndrome is between 40 and 55. For Fragile X
average IQ of a Somalian is 67.
syndrome, it is between 40 and 50 for males and 70 and 80 for females. The mean IQ for people with Prader-Willi syndrome is between 60 and 70. So usually people with these types of syndromes have very low IQ compared to the normal population. They are also more likely to suffer from poor eye health. For example, people with Down syndrome are very likely to have strabismus, which is basically having crossed eyes. They are also more likely to have amblyopia, which is a type of poor vision that usually happens in one of the eyes. They are even more likely to have refractive errors, which are vision problems that make it hard to see clearly. People with Fragile X syndrome are similar. They are more likely to suffer from different eye conditions. The same goes for people with Prader-Willi syndrome. So even if someone with these types of syndromes passes an eye test, their vision would not be the same as a normal person. Also mentally, they would not be the same as a normal person. Next types of conditions that we'll look into are ADHD, autism.
This one is dangerous. I still can't believe that I was gaslit by my family into believing that I was schizophrenic. That one was crazy to me. I mean, that changed the very root of my entire life when I was told constantly, you're schizophrenic, you're schizophrenic, you're schizophrenic. Even talking to a psychologist, and after a 45-second conversation, yep, here's the medicine. I can't imagine how much damage that medication did to my brain. This is probably one of the most damaging things that has ever happened to me. Absolutely wild.
And schizophrenia. ADHD is considered to be a mental disorder. Autism is generally classified as a neurodevelopmental disorder. And schizophrenia is...
Autistic people are dangerous as fuck, man. I'm not gonna lie. As well as just like stupid people in general are just incredibly dangerous because you can convince them of anything. And it's like a smart person can at least learn from their errors. A stupid person can't.
Considered to be a mental illness. Similar to the syndromes that we discussed previously. People with ADHD...
Wait, didn't you see stuff that wasn't there? Yeah, but that wasn't caused by schizophrenia. I told you guys this before. Maybe you guys didn't see. I was stabbed in my left eye when I was a child. So my left eye can like barely see and my right eye sees perfectly. And what that does is when it sends signals to my brain, it confuses it. So because I have just poor vision, that is why I have the hallucinations or see the things that aren't there. Just because my eyes can't properly communicate what I'm seeing effectively with my brain.
Autism and schizophrenia are
I need to get surgery, to be honest, but I'm like horrified of going under, so I really don't want to do that.
more likely to have eye problems. As we can see from the pictures, the autistic kids on the left tend to have different eyes compared to the non-autistic kids on the right. Their facial expressions and eyes are very different. Here is another example. You can see that the eyes are not normal. This person has schizophrenia. His eye area is also not normal, and his eyebrows are also not normal. In physiognomy, the eyebrows reflect the mental state of a person. These are some classical pictures from the 1800s of people with different mental illnesses. As we
Holy fuck!
can see, the eye area is not normal, and their mental state is not normal. So just like the people with the syndromes that we just discussed, people with autism are more likely to suffer from different eye problems. The odds of having crossed eyes are 4 to 5 times higher in autism compared to the general population. People with ADHD are 5 times more likely to suffer from convergence insufficiency. And people with schizophrenia are more likely to have reduced contrast sensitivity. This is one of the strongest visual defects in schizophrenia. So people with the mental disorders that we just mentioned are more likely to suffer from different eye problems compared to the normal population. So now we can see a pattern between proper eye health and proper brain health. You can also observe how people process their thoughts through their eye movements. I want you to remember what you ate 2 days ago. You will notice that you will gaze in a certain direction to try remembering what you ate. When you want to plan something, or when you think about something, you will also gaze in a certain direction.
True.
This is called gaze aversion during cognitive processing. So when you talk about something complicated to a person with low intelligence, they would freeze and stare at you with an open mouth. This is because they are not able to process what you have said.
Oh my god, it's so real. Holy shit.
As I mentioned previously, the retina is a part of the central nervous system, so it is logical that eye movement indicate cognitive processing.
Yes.
There is also a connection between nutrition deficiency, obesity, and eye health problems. Fat people are nutrient deficient, in general, despite eating a lot of food, because they usually eat unhealthy food. So missing certain nutrients can cause obesity and eye health problems.
I don't know anybody who got obese because they ate too much like steak and like fruit. I love McDonald's. I love Popeyes. Oh no, bro. I ordered the salad from Chick-fil-A. Why am I still fat? Jesus, bro. Come on.
Fat people also have slower brains. They have slower brain signaling speed compared to a healthy person, reduced sympathetic plasticity, and lower energy efficiency, which can cause many problems, because the brain needs a lot of ATP for energy. So being nutrient deficient can make a person less intelligent and overweight. The lack of certain nutrients will affect both brain health and eye health. Obese people are not the only ones deficient in nutrients. Schizophrenia has been linked to vitamin D deficiency. People with ADHD tend to be deficient in vitamin A and vitamin D. People with autism also tend to have vitamin D deficiency. So all the examples I gave you show that there is a strong link between good eye health and proper brain function. And all of this can be observed from the eye area. Everything is connected. So a person with bad eye health will become more intelligent if they fix their eye problems, because their brain performance will also improve. But this will depend on the eye.
They're gonna make me get glasses. Son of a bitch. This video is gonna make me go get laser for my eye. It's so real too. Because now when I look at shit, I get headaches nonstop because my left eye is so shit. Also, insane jawline.
Condition. If someone has blurry vision, for example, because of metabolic dysfunction, or mitochondrial inefficiency, or poor sleep, then improving those factors will improve visual clarity and cognitive performance. The same goes for obese people. Getting slimmer and healthier will improve cognitive function. This shows you that lifestyle and nutrition will affect the intelligence and health of a person.
Can I tell you guys something that I don't like to admit publicly? When I was morbidly obese, and I was thinking about like how to make my content better, this was back in like 2020. When I was 340 pounds, I couldn't think of like ways to make like my content better. So the only thing that I could think of was, well, maybe I'll just yell louder. That's how fucking stupid I was back in the day. That was my only way to make content more entertaining, was maybe I'll just yell louder. Because my brain just didn't fucking work, because I was actually just a big, dumb, fat retard. And I can literally feel my brain working better now than it ever has. The ability to read, play video games, write, all of that shit has improved dramatically just by losing 120 pounds. Like legit, guys, I mean, there's a reason why I fucking talk so much about losing weight being the best thing to happen to you, because it is. Like, I was literally a fat, dumb retard back in the day. And that'll haunt me forever. because people want to hold me to the same standard as I was back then because, you know, back in the day I was retarded. You know, I just didn't give a fuck. I didn't know how to elaborate on anything. I didn't know how to like, you know, communicate my thoughts properly. And then I lost weight, you know? And then like it just feels like my brain is like finally working the way it's supposed to. It's the truth though. Ozempic mandatory? Don't do Ozempic. I tried Ozempic for 2 weeks. Don't do it. It made my heart hurt. I even like pissed blood. I couldn't sleep. And I was losing weight, and I was losing weight quick. But then the moment I stopped Ozempic, I put on more weight than I lost. And it's also very expensive. Don't do it, man. Just lose weight the natural way through hard work and stop taking these shortcuts. Now, if you're like 400 pounds, sure, use it till you're like 300. But like, if you're just trying to lose some belly fat, don't get on Ozempic, bro. It's full of shit. Don't do it.
Another thing that can severely affect a person's health and intelligence is the lack of sunlight. Sunlight is not only important for vitamin D, it is also important for mitochondrial function. Red light.
Also, you can tell by what time someone wakes up on how productive and how intelligent they are. If you're waking up between 6 and 9 a.m., no, I'll be more fair. If you're waking up between 6 and 10 a.m., you are going to be infinitely smarter than someone who's waking up from 7 to 8 p.m. Infinitely more smart, infinitely more successful, unless you have a specific reason to be up at those hours, like a job, right? But people who can choose their sleeping schedule and wake up at like 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 6 p.m., rather than waking up like a normal person between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., you're infinitely more successful if you wake up early than when you wake up late. And it is because of the vitamins absorbed from the sun.
From the sun stimulates
Unless you have a job that's making you sleep that time. But for real, if you were to just change when you wake up and change like, follow circadian rhythm, you will be infinitely more happy and you'll be infinitely more productive.
Mitochondria to increase ATP production. Your brain and eyes contain mitochondria-dense cells because they require a lot of energy. In this study, people who were exposed to red light showed improved vision. So companies try to sell you something that you can already get for free. Sunlight is free.
Valen says, bro, I sleep like all day. Yo, Valen, try waking up at 6 a.m. That's when I wake up. I wake up at 6 to 7 a.m. every day. Try it. You will enjoy it greatly. You just have to get used to it for like a month. It's fucking awesome.
So this is something to consider. Now we will go through different eye variations and their indications through the science of physiognomy. This will help us understand how people with those facial features tend to think. The first eye variation we will discuss is eyes with minimal upper eyelid exposure. This eye variation is the opposite of eyes with exposed upper eyelids. Single eyelids are the same as eyes with minimal upper eyelid exposure in terms of the characteristics they indicate. This variation is very common among East Asians. People with minimal upper eyelid exposure are analytical. Analytical here doesn't mean that they are logical or intelligent. We can't conclude that from one facial feature. It just means that they tend to have good concentration and focus. So if you're interacting with someone with this feature, you would expect them to ask questions more often and frequently. That's why they are described as investigative and having curious mindset. East Asians tend to be like that. Even their language tend to demand more focus and concentration, because it heavily rely on pattern recognition. Eyes with exposed upper eyelids are the opposite. People with this
pattern recognition does not equate to racism. It equates to you being intelligent. Obviously, if a person looks a certain way and acts a certain way, and you recognize that from bad behaviors of others, you're not being awful. You're just having a brain and using it. But society is conditioning you to not use your fucking brain.
Feature dislike overanalyzing things, and they prefer to get to the core of things. That's why they tend to prefer quick results. We also cannot conclude from this facial feature alone that someone is intelligent or not. Not all intelligent people think in the same way. Eyes that are close together indicate that a person is precise and detail-oriented. People with this eye variation are also described as analytical. You can think about it like this. A person with close-set eyes is sharp-eyed and quick to react. A person with minimal upper eyelid exposure would overanalyze and concentrate and focus when looking at something. So it is not always the case that a person with close-set eyes would overanalyze things. But you can have a combination of both eye variations. Eyes that are wide apart are the opposite. These people struggle with small details. They tend to be daydreamers and they are prone to distraction. But they are good at seeing things in the bigger picture. So they are not rigid like people with close-set eyes. And they are open-minded. This feature alone doesn't indicate low intelligence. But people with this facial feature would probably be bad at things that demand too much precision.
Bro, looks like Jason the Wayne.
Deep-set eyes indicate that a person is introspective, reflective, and a deep thinker. So usually it is harder to read people with deep-set eyes compared to people with protruding eyes. People with deep-set eyes are described as deep thinkers and reflective because they're...
I have deep-set eyes and I actually vibe with this quite a bit. This is very interesting to learn. I did not know this, but yeah, my eyes are deep as fuck.
Emotions don't show up. easily. So this will reflect on both their personality traits and the way they think. Protruding eyes are the opposite of deep-set eyes. These people are more expressive and animated. They are also more likely to be impulsive and spontaneous compared to people with deep-set eyes. So in comparison, the person on the right is more self-aware and reflective compared to the person on the left. Narrow eyes, or eyes that have straight top and
I've never heard of this a single time.
bottom lids, indicate that a person is watchful and observant. So this guy has deep-set eyes and minimal upper eyelid exposure. So he is introspective and he has strong focus and concentration. His narrow eyes add another layer. So he is watchful and observant. These characteristics will also apply to his personality traits, the way he thinks, and how he interacts with people. A negative canthal tilt indicates that a person focuses more on the negative side of things.
Oh god, we're getting into canthal tilt. Holy shit. Oh my god. I thought this was a joke hearing this shit.
Rather than the positives. That's why they tend to critique a lot. So if a person with this eye variation is intelligent, then this can be an advantage, because they would always try to minimize the flaws in things they are doing. So now that we covered the eyes, we will move on to the eyebrows. The eyebrows are very important, because they can reflect the mental state of a person, and how they process their thoughts. They can also reflect the energy levels of a person, which can directly affect the energy of the brain. The lady on the left with the thicker eyebrows has better cognitive function compared to the lady on the right, because her thyroid function is much better. She is also much healthier. The eyebrows reflect the health of the thyroid, and the thyroid has a very important role when it comes to the brain function. The thyroid gland significantly influences sex hormones and reproductive health. It is also a regulator of metabolism, mood, and cognitive function. The thyroid is one of the most neurologically and hormonally influential glands in the body. Also, the thyroid acts like a control system for your brain's energy. It helps your brain turn glucose into usable energy in the form of ATP. So when
I've never heard of this shit in my whole life.
it's working well, your thinking, focus, and mental energy will improve. When the thyroid is low, it pushes eyebrow hairs into the resting phase, where they stop growing and fall out faster than they
Okay, what type of eyebrows do I have? I feel like I got some pretty thick eyebrows. Am I crazy? I feel like my eyebrows are one of my best features. I feel like mine are sexy as fuck. You know, very high sexual energy, obviously.
can be replaced. So a low thyroid will reduce the energy in your brain and in your body, and will cause the eyebrow hairs to become sparse. Women are more likely to suffer from thyroid problems for a couple of reasons. One major reason is that they avoid the sun and use sunscreen and other products that block sunlight. In a study, red light therapy treatment was very effective in normalizing thyroid volume in female patients. In another study, red light therapy treatment was 70 times more effective in increasing T3 to T4 ratios. So as I mentioned previously, you can get a lot of red light from the sun. Sunlight is crucial for mitochondrial function. Mitochondrial dysfunction can impair thyroid hormone production and
Dude, this is so true. If you have time to go on a 30-minute walk or even a 15-minute walk in the morning as the sun is rising or right above you, bro, you can literally feel the vitamins like seeping through your skin and your brain just start pumping and pumping and pumping. It feels so fucking good, bro. Morning walks are OP as fuck.
activation. And thyroid dysfunction directly reduces mitochondrial ATP. So it is like a self-reinforcing
I bet you a unibrow means you're fucking retarded, though.
metabolic loop. You shouldn't look at each body part individually.
I'd
This
put
is a
money on
reductionist
that.
mentality. Different body parts work together and depend on each other. Other psychological factors can directly influence the body and the face. In physiognomy, short eyebrows indicate a weak connection to people in the private and social life of a person. And if a person is not bonding with people, they will have low oxytocin levels, and low oxytocin can elevate cortisol, which can lead to hair loss. So this can be the
Oh, you gotta watch those cortisol levels, bro. Clavicular taught me all about this shit.
result of psychological factors. The health can also affect a person psychologically. Problems can arise from the combination of multiple factors. Different eyebrow shapes and variations can reflect a person's mental state, emotions, and many other things. So the eyebrows are one of the most important things to look out for when analyzing people. Now that we know all this, we will go through some eyebrow variations, which can help us understand the
What about
mentality of
unibrow?
people we are dealing with. Thick eyebrows indicate high energy and vitality. Thick eyebrows on their own don't indicate high intelligence.
Here, let me just TLDR this shit. You're not wrong for judging people by their cover. It makes sense. It's a survival instinct. So be more racist today, guys.